What's going on, guys? It's Robert Rowland with another podcast. Today is Wednesday. I just got back in from work and I wanted to go ahead and do a quick podcast before I hop in the shower and take care of a couple things. And over the past couple days and even today, a few things have happened in my life that I wanted to share, and maybe this will help encourage everyone and guide you guys a little bit better, and help push forward through the recovery process. And if you're not the narcissist, or if you're with a narcissist, it'll help you understand the person you're dealing with. Not to go into too much detail of what I've been through over the past couple days, but over the past couple days, I've been in contact with the person that helped me identify that I was a narcissist. And our conversations have not been great. So they pretty much have been what they are and what they've been since we split. And then today, on top of that, this has nothing to do with them or with her. Just today, everything at work today just seemed like nothing was going right. It starts out, someone hit my truck, and then I catch a flat tire. It just seemed like everything was just going completely freaking wrong. And, over the past couple days, it just seemed like everything that I've been working for over the past few months and over this recovery period, have pretty much been tossed to the wayside, and I'm back to square one. And, I felt like giving up, before all of this stuff happened today. Like when I was in contact with my loved one, I really felt like, what am I really putting in all this effort for? Why am I still having these battles? Why am I still struggling this way? It's been so much time. Why doesn't she see what I'm going through? Why doesn't she see how much effort and how important, these things are? And why can't she see this physical and mental change within me? And today, on my ride home, it kind of like dawned on me. And all of these things that I've been saying over these past podcasts, how I kept saying, like, we need to realize that it's been abused and all that stuff, all of those things kind of played back into my mind also. And it was just like, I can't force this recovery for her. I can't force it, and all of these things that are happening to me right now are just small monetary things, like the flat tire and the stuff with my truck, and being that it was a company vehicle and all that stuff. These things that are trivial, I'm making these big, traumatic, drastic things internally. Like, I'm making these things bigger than what they are. And as a narcissist, we need to step back and really analyze the situation and realize, that things aren't always what we see them to be. And in our minds, the way we process things isn't always correct. We need to step out the box and look at it at a different view. And it's not even just us being narcissists, just people in general. We need to look at it from all angles before we make a judgment or make a decision, as to what's really going on, back to the conversations with me and my loved one. We went back and forth about a few things, and she said a couple things that, really upset me and really hurt me deep down inside, and I was really hurt and frustrated about, the things that she said to me. But, after I sat down and really thought about it, I realized that I understand why she feels the way she feels because of the amount of abuse that I put her through. I understand that she has a very valid reason to feel the way she does, and regardless of how much I've changed and regardless of how much effort I've put myself through over these months, and all of this recovery that, I'm proclaiming, and all of this changing that I'm proclaiming, it doesn't really matter to her because she's not around to physically see it, one. And number two, in her mind, the pain that she feels is still associated with me and in the past and my character. That's one word that she used to me that struck me. And it hit home, and it helped me realize a lot of things. She said, it's your character, and once we're labeled something, and once something becomes our character, it's really hard to break those chains off of our character, and we can't get mad and frustrated at the person, that's calling us these names and these things. We need to be upset with ourselves because that's exactly what we portrayed, and that's what we've done. So, and that's basically what I did. I pulled back and I said, you know what, to myself. Obviously, I didn't say it to her. I was like, I had the conversation with myself. I was like, you know what, Rob, you're deserving of what's coming your way because you did these things. You made this bed, regardless of how much you love this person, regardless of how much effort you're putting in, to change, to make things right, to correct the ways of your past. If this person doesn't see it, there's nothing you can do about it, Rob. It's you still have to do it for yourself. And I've been saying over and over and over in all of these podcasts, you have to continue to do these changes for yourself. And that's what I have to continue to do, is continue to change for yourself. And I honestly think a lot of the things that happened to me today, with my work vehicle and all these things, is because I put myself in such a bad mood, and I was so focused on all this negativity that's happened over the past couple days. Now, I was just drawing in all of this negative energy to me, so a lot of those sayings and a lot of those things is like, you want positive, think positive, you're going to receive whatever you project, as far as positive thoughts and positive vibes and all that stuff. I'm starting to believe that is 100% true, because this morning when I went to work, I'm not going to say I really had negative feelings, but I wasn't really positive. I wasn't really upbeat. I didn't have my radio on in my car. I was just kind of like, it was cold outside and it's been cold all day. I kind of just had a blank face on. I took my normal hot shower, did my hair, and just was going through my routine. I didn't do anything, to put myself in a great mood. I didn't wake up this morning and go running down the beach or wake up early and hit the gym or anything like that. I just went about my day and started my day normally, where, I think if I had not been so negative before I went to bed, I was dwelling on the conversation that me and my ex had, and I was really upset, and it took me a really long time to fall asleep, and I was thinking all of these negative thoughts and, I was wishing that, I had done so many things so different, and I tossed and turned, even had a couple nightmares and all of these things. And I woke up this morning and I just felt wiped out and blah, you know. And I think that was part of like some of that energy, that was coming to me this morning. And sure enough, when I got to job site today, boom, first thing that happens, all of this negative stuff starts to happen. Until this afternoon, I was just like, you know what? I sat in my truck, I closed my eyes, and I'm not the most religious person out there. I don't proclaim to be. I just closed my eyes and said, God, just please, reset this for me. I need something positive to start happening, in my life right now. And I need to just wipe away this negativity. This is a positive change that's happening. Please help guide me. And sure enough, as soon as I stepped out of my truck, things started to feel a little bit different internally, and my day kind of like finished out better. So with all those things that I'm saying, guys, is we just have to remember that we have to stay positive about this recovery process. And for the people that aren't narcissists and the people that are dealing with the narcissist, just be mindful that this isn't an easy process. It's extremely difficult. It's extremely difficult. And another thing, as a narcissist, and for narcissists that are listening, I want you guys to know that we need to also reprogram ourselves. And this is something that I had to realize too, and remind myself over, today and yesterday and in the past couple of days, is that, how we project our feelings, regardless of how genuine they are now, because of our history and because of our character and how we portrayed ourselves character-wise, the conventional ways of expression of emotions and things like that do not apply anymore. So just like we say I love you to someone, that doesn't work anymore. By buying someone flowers or going the extra mile, making dinner or something like that, those general rules and laws of showing love and affection don't apply anymore, because we are narcissists, because we've done all of these things to hurt these people, because these people have the hatred and hurt and pain that's built up inside them. So we have to realize that when we are doing these things, and now that we feel that we're in a better emotional place and a better mental place, and we're a lot better, we can provide better and give better to the relationship or friendship or whatever it is, and we're trying to give that to the loved one and portray that to this loved one, and they're not reciprocating that or receiving it or understanding that. We need to remember that because of our history, they're not going to accept it the same way, because we basically had our chance and we blew it. So you can't dial it up any notches or anything like that. You just kind of have to let the recovery effort fall on them at that point. If there is a recovery effort at that point for the relationship or whatever it is, it's going to take place on their part. But if there isn't, there isn't. So I'm sorry about this podcast being solely about me, guys. It's just a couple things that I had on my chest that I've been going through, and I kind of fell back into my rut over the past couple days. So just keep the faith, keep the hope, keep pushing forward, keep growing, and you guys can get through it. Have a great day. Robert Rowland.